Cool. All right, let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the DIGT ARC Clay 2026 kickoff meeting. Super excited to be speaking with you guys today. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Murilo Gustinelli. I am from Brazil. I've been living in the US for a little bit over than 13 years now. I work as a machine learning engineer at a startup called Voxel 51. I actually started working there a few weeks ago. And previously, I was a software engineer at Intel, and then before that, I was a data scientist. I've been at OMSCS at Georgia Tech since the fall of 2022, so it's been a long time for me. And I'm on my eighth class right now, and I've been very involved with the group for 3 years now, since 2023. And I'm very interested in applied machine learning research. And I'm also very interested in deep learning, computer vision, representation learning, and a lot of my research has been towards biodiversity conservation. So that's a little bit about myself and the agenda for the meeting today. So I want to cover all of those things during the meeting today, and then after, which I did not include in the slide, but I do want to make some time for Q&A, basically answer any questions that you guys may have at the end. And also, the meeting is being recorded and is going to be published on YouTube after this. So, just for the folks that could not join us online right now. But this is what I want to cover. I want to cover what is the group, because I know there's some people who did not participate before and they're quite new. I want to cover what is the Clay conference, the competition timeline, or experience attending the previous conferences in Europe, where we are right now, the meetings, like cadence and structure of the meetings that we do, some the hack sessions that we do, and then this is basically like the structure of our group and information about the conference. And then for the second part of the meeting today, I want to cover onboarding, finalizing team information, use of AI for research, coding, and writing, which is something new that I want to discuss. Maybe talk a little bit about API costs and reimbursements, because a lot of the labs that we tackle, we're going to be using those. And also pace for compute and storage, since that's what we're going to be using throughout the entire semester. Okay, so let's get started. So what is DSGT ARC? So DSGT stands for Data Science at Georgia Tech. It's a club at Georgia Tech. Is basically it was created by undergrads, I believe, and most people I think in the club are undergrads, but we operate under the club, within the club, and that gives us a bunch of perks for being affiliated with the club, such as access to PACE. And ARC stands for Applied Research and Competitions, which is our group. So basically, we are a group within the club, and we tackle competitions very related to machine learning and information retrieval. And basically, we just want to provide hands-on experience in machine learning, information retrieval by participating in competitive research challenges. We started doing that in Kaggle competitions, and then now we have scaled and we are tackling conferences. We're participating in competitions in conferences. And Clay, it's one of the conferences. It's actually the main conference that we participate in the spring semester. And Clay stands for Conference and Labs of the Evaluation Forum. It's mostly an European conference. It happens in Europe every single year. And every single year, they change the country where the conference happens. And we also have been using the Pace cluster at Georgia Tech for all of our compute and storage needs. So what is Clay? Like I said, it's a conference. It happens in Europe every year. It stands for Conference and Labs of the Evaluation Forum. So basically, it's a conference that has many labs, and within each lab has many different tasks. And this over here is the updated list of the 16 labs that Clay is going to be offering in the 2026 cycle. So all of those labs are available for anybody to participate, and we're going to be tackling some of them. So this is just data from the 2025 registration cycle. So as you can see, you can kind of gauge which labs are the most that has the most number of participants, the most number of teams registered. So you can see that NLP labs like Exist and Pan and BioAsk, check that, they're very, very popular. And then Image Clay being the one of the most popular in the computer vision side of things, along with Live Clay. But yeah, you can kind of see how the distribution of participants goes for each lab. And for the 2026 competition cycle, basically how it works is that the labs, they host their own competitions on their own platform. Each lab has a different platform, a different website. For example, LiveClay hosts all of their competitions on Kaggle. So, or most of their competitions, okay, I think it's all of them now. And the competitions for each lab opens on a different time of the year, but it's usually around February or end of January or beginning of February. I know that for Life Clay, the competition is going to start February 1st, if I'm not mistaken. And then it goes on until May. So basically, from February until from the competition launch in January or February until May, that's the competition cycle where we're gonna be basically trying to come up with the best method for the competition itself. And then in May, sometime in May, the competition is gonna end. And then we're gonna have a few or a couple weeks to write a working note paper of our solution. We're going to submit that to the conference through EasyChair. It's the platform for submitting the paper. And then we're going to get reviews back from the reviewers. And then we're going to address those reviews. We're going to send the paper back with the reviews addressed. And then we're going to get a notification if the paper was accepted or rejected. And the conference itself happens in September. So yeah, so that's kind of how the cycle goes. It's first the competition, and then we have some time for doing the paper, sending the paper to the conference, reviewing, and then sending the final paper. And then if everything goes well, it gets published, and then we can go to the conference. You don't have to publish to go to the conference, but it's just nice because you can talk to people who also published. And the time commitment, it's basically, to me, it's equivalent to a 3 credit course at Georgia Tech, between 100 to 150 hours per semester. Research is really one of those things that you get out what you put in. And in the beginning, as you guys know, one of the tasks that we asked you was to do like a research proposal. And most of you have come up with a research proposal and have written one. And I'm sure that there's going to be a bunch of little things that are going to come along the way who that were not expected to show up. And that's just the nature of research. So, yeah. So, in the past, some of us have actually attended the conference as a team. So, back in 2024, I attended in Grenoble, France, alongside Shashank, Anthony, and Terry. And it was really cool because it was the first time that um, we as a team attended the conference together. So, quite a small team. And then in 2025, there was a much bigger group of people that ended up attending the conference in Madrid, Spain. And I saw the photos. They had a lovely time. I was very jealous that I cannot go. But yeah, we're going to be trying to go to the conference again this year, which is going to be in Jena, Germany. And also, outside of Clay, last year was also the first time that we started branching out to other conferences. So I had the opportunity to go to CVPR and present a poster of the research that I did for Clay in the FGVC, the Fine Grained Visual Categorization Workshop at CVPR, which was really cool. So now we're not only participating in Play, but we're also starting to branch to other conferences, which is really cool. By the way, is anybody unmuted speaking right now? Please mute yourself. Thank you. Cool. So where we are right now, so those are just some overall statistics for the group along the years. So in 2022 is when the group started. It was only 5 people in the group. And then 2023, we also only had one team with 4 people. And then 2024 is when we started to scale things up. And then we ended up having a total of 22 authors. And we submitted 11 papers in 2024. And then in 2025, we kind of doubled that. So we ended up having 21 papers submitted to CLEF, and 45 authors, which was pretty cool. And I'm hoping that we have somewhat of like similar numbers this year, in terms of authors and people attending. And those are just some of the papers that we submitted last year. So just going on a few of them, we have checked that ensemble methods for detecting scientific discourse on social media. A bunch of them here were checked at. Here we have some the one that I participated on, distilling spectrograms into tokens, fast and lightweight bioacoustic classification for Berkeley 2025. This paper actually ended up winning the best paper award at the lab, or at the Berkeley task. And then some other papers here: multilingual job title matching with MP-NATs based sentence transformers. And then also binoculars, BARTs, and adversaries, multifaceted AI text detection for PAN in 2025. I think they also ended up winning an award for the PAN paper, which is pretty cool. And okay, so that's basically what we have done. And just talking a little bit about the papers, let's talk about how we do meetings for the research cycle. So basically, we have two kinds of meetings. We have monthly meetings, which are general for the entire group to attend. And we also have team meetings, which are weekly, and those are team-based. So for the monthly meetings, they are only once a month. They are about an hour and a half to 2 hours each meeting, which is quite a lot, but it's a time for everybody to present. So basically, this is a meeting where all teams attend. It's led by the leads or by someone representing their team for that day. And it's going to be recorded and posted on YouTube throughout the semester. So each month we're going to have a meeting, and that meeting is going to be recorded. Basically, it's going to serve as for the group to update on progress from each team. And each month is going to have a different goal for the meeting. So month one would be task overview. We're actually not doing that this semester because the kickoff meeting is already serving kind of as the first meeting for the first month. And then month two, the next monthly meeting is going to be about data and EDA. The next one's going to be about modeling and baseline. The next one is going to be about experiments and drafting the paper. And then we're going to have a final meeting in May, basically just finalizing everything, making sure that everybody is going to be able to finish the papers and be able to publish the conference. So those are the monthly meetings. And we also have weekly team meetings. Those are once a week, 30-minute meetings. They're going to be scheduled by the team leads. So each team should have a lead, and it's the responsibility of the team lead to schedule those meetings. And there are internal team focus meetings. So basically just keeping sure, basically like a stand-up, making sure that the tasks are being delegated properly, that people are making progress towards the final goal. They're pursuing their research interests. And also, usually the meetings, they also have some kind of like technical discussion, discussing any roadblocks that you may be facing and things like that. So yeah. And then the third type of meeting that we have, it's completely optional, and those are hack sessions. They are done during the spring semester, usually on weekends, and they're basically just like very long 8-hour block meetings. Usually, I'm the one who has been hosting them in the past. So we usually have them on Saturdays and Sundays. And it's basically just a big office hour and a time for people to um, come on Zoom and basically just code together. Like we're usually in silence, but if someone has any questions, I'm there. They happen usually from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., both on Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm usually hosting those meetings on both days and just making sure that yeah, people are making progress towards their goal. And again, those hack sessions, they're completely optional. You don't have to come if they want to, but it's just nice to have a block of time dedicated to just do work during the weekend. And they have actually been super helpful in the past and super productive. So just some screenshots of the meetings that we've had in the past, just working together. They're quite fun. And yeah, I guess talking a little bit more about hack sessions. Again, they're optional. In the past, last year, we ended up doing 16 of those throughout the semester. And I started doing them around March. So probably mid of March, I started doing them every single weekend. And then basically a time to get together and get work done and ask questions. Okay, so let's also talk a little bit about team leads and team members. And by the way, this information is available on our website too. But I just wanted to clarify this because I got some questions about people asking that they thought that team leads were more like on the managerial side and team leads were not doing any coding. And they're more like just managing the team, while the team members are the ones who are actually implementing the solutions. And that's actually not true. It's both the leads and the members, they're really expected to code and implement their solutions. And yeah, just having very strong programming skills and just be curious and want to do the task. But I'd say the main difference between both of them is just the responsibilities. I see the team lead as the one who's responsible for the big responsibilities to submit the paper and publish the paper for that task itself. And then it comes other responsibilities too, like entering and participating in the competition, conducting and hosting the weekly meetings, communicating the progress with the group itself during the monthly meetings. It doesn't have to be the team lead who's communicating the progress during those monthly meetings. It can delegate to someone else, like someone else in the group does for that particular month. But it is still the team lead's responsibility for making progress towards the task and delegating work within the team. And the team member is basically doing a lot of the contributions for the competition. It's attending the weekly meetings, being very active on Slack, asking questions, attending and presenting during the monthly meetings, like I said, and also writing, helping write the paper as well. Like the lead is not going to be the only person who's going to be writing the paper. There's going to be a shared responsibility across the entire team. And I think I see the lead as the one who's going to be kind of delegating the responsibility in the team. And yeah, looking to the future, the conference is going to be in Vienna, in Germany, in September this year. And we're going. So I'd love to see some of you to be able to go and come with us and publish your papers and see what's like to attend a conference if you have never done that before. Okay, so that was like the first section of the kickoff meeting today. Now I kind of want to talk about the more managerial side of things. So first of all, I have shared on Slack a onboarding doc link, which is also here on the slides. And I'm actually going to be going through a little bit of that onboarding right now with you, just to make sure that you understand everything and maybe clarify any questions that you may have. So basically, this onboarding doc is just a doc that you just have to go through and do it for every single step that we have at the bottom of the document to make sure that you have everything set up that you will need. So here in the doc, we have some like contacts. So you can contact myself or Anthony if you have any questions about anything. And then we also have a core team. Um, we have some essential resources for you guys. So just some helpful links that you may want to check it out. I think the two main ones are going to be the roster. And then we also have the mailing lists, which I'm going to be talking about later. And also the GitHub org, which also I'm going to be talking about later. And this one here, the labs and leads, this section right here is going to be updated frequently. As you can see, we have TBD for some of the labs because we still don't have the leads for those labs yet. We have not identified those. The ones that are already here, like Max and Justice, or myself and Anthony, those are going to be the leads for the particular tasks that they are affiliated with. This is actually not updated. We have more leads in the roster who are not here. So if you are leading a lab, I'm actually going to ask you to put your name here and make sure that, yeah, your name is here. But this is going to be a good way to just find out if a lab still has capacity for doing a task. If you have not been placed on a task yet, which again I'll be talking about that later. But basically, the idea of the onboarding document is just going through those onboarding steps. So we have here steps from 1 through 10, and basically you just got to do them one by one and making sure that you understand everything that is going on. Really important to join the mailing list for the Outlook group. Basically, all of the emails I'm going to be sending through that list. So requests to join the list, and also the meetings, the upcoming meetings, like the monthly meetings, they're going to be done all through the mailing list on Outlook. The other thing is that we have a lot of documents in the drive. So we have a Google Drive, and everything that we're going to be doing in the semester is going to be shared here. So we already have a shared folder, which you're going to have all of the teams, documents, and informations. Let me make a little bigger. As so. And then we also have a slides folder, which here has a slide for this meeting, but also is going to have the slides for all of the subsequent meetings. And then we have a leads folder, which is going to be the notes from the core team leads, the alpha group that we have already been meeting. So we have some notes there. So in order to be able to see everything in the drive, you need to join the Google group. And then once you join, you'll be able to see the roster, see basically everything that we have. So don't ask permission explicitly when you try to share things. Just join the Google group and you will have permission for everything. The other thing is going to be joining the GitHub organization. So we have a GitHub org, which is called DSGT Arc. And this is going to be the place where we're going to be keeping basically all of our repos, and we're going to be working from here. And if you have not joined the org yet, I'm going to ask you to ask your lead to give you permission to do so. Right now, I have not configured permission for the leads to add people yet, so that's something that I'm going to be doing soon, and I'll let the entire group when that's done. But yeah, you're just gonna ask the team lead to invite you into the org. Um, the other thing is that all of the recordings are going to be shared on YouTube, so we have that as well. Familiarize yourself with Clay 2026. So let me open the link again. So this is the Clay 2026 website. You can check all of the labs here. You can go to specific labs, such as, for example, LiveClay, and then has information about each task within LiveClay. You can also check the lab page itself. And like I said, each lab's going to have a different page. So yeah, please get yourself familiar with the conference website. And then setup and development. So like I said, everything's going to be done through Pace. If you're new to Pace and you have not participated in the fall interest group, I highly recommend you watching this 1 hour onboarding session that I've gone through using the Pace cluster and some best practices. like how to request resources through the terminal, and then also the interactive session, how to SSH into the compute instances that you requested. You can connect Pace with VS Code or anti-gravity or any kind of like IDE that supports remote connection. So it's a good overview to get yourself familiar with Pace. And then yeah, team meetings, they're going to be scheduled on Zoom for the group, and registering the lab. This is something that we can discuss later as a group, but basically the team lead is going to be responsible for registering their team in the conference registration page, which this one is the old one. I need to update that. But if we go on Clay 2026, there's going to be a conference overview dates. There's gonna be a register for a lab, and then you can register here. I'm gonna give you guys more information about that once we approach that. Right now, the registration timeline is April 23rd, so we still have time. So don't worry about that for now. And then yeah, that's basically the onboarding doc. So just wanted to make sure that you guys know that. So also, I posted a link on how to write a great research paper. And I think that this is a pretty good video to watch before doing any kind of research. It kind of sets the expectations for what is it like to write a paper if you have never done that before. So if you do have some free time, I highly recommend you watching that as well. Okay. Next up is finalizing team formation. So the other thing that I want to go over is that once you request access to join the Google group, you will have access to see the roster, which is documented here. So basically, I blacked out people's emails just in case of privacy, because this meeting is being recorded, it's going to be shared on YouTube. So I don't want to share people's emails on YouTube, but I'm going to be removing that later. Um, the roster is the source of truth for who's doing what and what teams exist. I really want to emphasize that this is not a matchmaking spreadsheet. Like, if you don't have a team, don't put your name on so many things. This is for finalized teams only. Or we're still doing kind of matchmaking. We're still finalizing the team formation. And I have put people here who maybe are doing solos right now, like they don't have any team, but they're interested in doing that task. And I'll just give an example. For example, Ignacio Perez is very interested in doing AI for Agri for image play. And I think Eric is very interested in doing image play GANs, but they're doing by themselves. Like they don't have anybody on their teams. So one thing that I'm going to say, going to go back here to the slide, is if a team has a lead, which you can check here, who are the leads for the teams. So if a team has a lead and you are participated, you don't have a team yet, and you are participated or you are interested in participating in joining that team, please reach out to the lead directly and just talk to them saying that, hey, I'm interested in joining you. Perhaps write a research proposal for the task and just talk to them directly. If a team does not have a lead, then but you were already placed on a team, or maybe you don't even have a team at all, then I would highly recommend for you guys to chat among yourselves on Slack, specifically on the Clay 2026 channel on Slack, and try to do team formation over there. The reason for that is because I think it's just more organic if you guys find the people who you are interested in working with and the tasks that you are interested in pursuing, rather than having like the leads or someone who has not done that task before or who is not participating try to tell you what to do. I think it's going to be a more organic experience if we try to do things that way. And in the post itself on Slack, I would ask you to put your name, location, work. If you do work, if you don't work, that's also okay because we do have some undergrads as well. The classes that you're taking, and what task or lab you're interested in joining. And then maybe that way you can find people who are also interested in pursuing the same tasks that you are, and you can start chatting among yourselves. One thing that I'm going to do, and I have not done yet, is I will be creating um, channels for every single lab on Slack. So, for example, let me go back to the roster. So, for example, for Check That, I'm going to be creating a Check That 2026 channel, which I think is already exists. And I'm going to make the channel public so anybody can join. So if you're interested in joining that lab specifically, you can chat on Clay 2026, but you can also join that specific channel and you can say, hey, I'm interested in joining Check That. I see that Hannah is a lead, or you can talk to, in this case, you talk to Hannah directly. But let me get an example. So, for example, the financial fin eval task two, we have three people doing that right now, but we don't have a lead. So, in that case, I'm going to ask you guys to basically chat among yourselves and come up with a lead for your task. So, this is going to be a very organic kind of process, but I trust you guys, and I'm sure that you guys can come up with that on your own. And regarding team composition, we highly recommend teams of three people. I think that fewer people, well, why do we recommend three people in a team? I think that three people has a really clear breakdown of tasks for the teams. If we have fewer people, like one or two people, then there's too much for those people to do. And then maybe they ended up exploring an idea that they have that does not pay out, and that comes with a great cost because then you don't really have good results to show for. But and then if you have more than three people, like four or five people, then the work becomes too diluted between all of those people, meaning they may not have enough substance to work with, and maybe they're not gonna do as many meaningful contributions towards the final solution. So we highly recommend working in teams of three. I think that's a really good breakdown of tasks and ideas to explore in a task. um, and that's really it about the information, which I'm sure that you guys have questions about it, and I'm glad to answer those questions after the meeting. We only have a few slides left. So, okay, this one is a big one. Using AI for research, coding, and writing. And I think the main um, goal is to just be honest about what you're doing. So both Clay and Georgia Tech, they have policies about using AI. If we click on this link right here, I can go over some of the policies with you right now. So this is the policy that Clay has for AI usage. And you can go over this on your own time, but I just want to go over kind of like this table right here. When it comes to text creation, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So for text creation, AI can definitely help you with writer's block. You should still use, I think critical thinking is going to be a big key when using AI here. And so you should use critical thinking or judgments to make sure that everything that you're writing is correct. You should not just basically have the AI to write entire paragraphs, even entire sections of the paper. So to be fully honest, I think that last year we had an unusual amount of papers who were highly relying on AI for writing them. And I don't like that at all. I think that all of the writing should be from you, and you should rely on AI for other things, but not your critical thinking and your writing. When it comes to grammar, I think they even say things regarding grammar, sentence polishing. AI can be used to make correct grammatical mistakes like typos and other things, and just help improve clarity and professionalism of your writing. But it should not use to like rewrite large texts, and just basically write big chunks of your paper for you, and or even like refining whole paragraphs without even using any critical thinking or anything like that. I don't think that's really good, and I really want to see that kind of usage being decreased this year with this cycle. And also, I guess at the end of the day, you kind of want to be proud of what you do. And if you just outsourcing that kind of thinking to AI, then I don't know, I wouldn't feel as good about my work as I currently do. So go over that on your own and make sure you understand. There's also the academic honor code of Georgia Tech, which they kind of go through the AI usage and what they think that you should be doing. My take, and this is my personal take, is that you should be using AI. You should definitely be using AI throughout the semester. Like this is something that you should definitely be using. I'm going to be relying on agents like Claude Code and Gemini very heavily this year, especially for writing experiments and writing a lot of code. But I don't think you should be using AI for the paper writing itself. I think that should come from you, which is why I'm recommending that video earlier on how to write a great paper. Because if you do write a little bit of the paper throughout the semester, at the end you're already gonna have kind of a solid paper to show for. So you're not gonna be having to basically run and try to write like a sloppy paper. You're gonna have something solid, and you're not gonna need to rely on AI as much. Um, and regarding API costs, so a lot of the tasks that we need, they kind of, I, I'm not going to say require, but they kind of rely on just using APIs. Like it's interesting to use Gemini or those models, like even some OpenAI models for our experiments, but that comes with costs. In the past, we have been paying those things out of pocket, and then we have been covering them with paper awards and things like that. So it's kind of we have been paying all of that up front and then hoping that by winning awards with the papers that we write or trying to get reimbursements from the club would cover some of those costs. This year, I'm going to try to just do a better job and trying to get more funding for those API costs. I'm currently in conversations with the leadership of the SGT, and I don't have an answer right now, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that because that's something that I would love to for you guys to have access to throughout the semester and not having to rely on our own money for doing those things. Uh, when it comes to compute and storage, so like I said, everything is done through Pace. Make sure to watch that Pace onboarding session that I outlined in the onboarding document. But going very quickly on Pace, Pace is a Georgia Tech cluster. It's basically a really big high performance computing cluster. It's at the Coda Building at GT. I think it has like 2 floors of only servers. And the way how Pace works is that you log into Pace and you usually log in into a login node. And the only thing that you should be doing in the login node is to request compute resources like either CPUs or GPUs. And then all of the work that you do is in the CPU or in the GPU that you requested. So the login node, you just log in, you request resources, and then you can close the terminal and then you SSH into the compute resource that you requested. Um, in the login node, you can also like run jobs. Like if you have jobs that you need to run, you can do that. Like you don't have to SSH into the compute that you requested. you can simply log in into the login node. You can request a bunch of jobs, like an array of jobs, and spin up a bunch of GPUs, each one doing or performing a different experiment. Um, and then, yeah, and then you get the results back, and you'll be able to see everything on your results in your home directory or whatever you're running that job from. Um, and if you watch the video that I did, this is gonna make a lot more sense to you. But also just saying, there's a big learning curve on using Base. I know that you can see, it can look like very intimidating in the beginning, but once you get the gist of using it, it's really nice. Like there's a lot of compute. I never have any issues on getting GPUs, especially the RTX 6000 or the V100s. They're usually available, and it's really nice because we have all of this compute, and it's gonna be provided for us basically for free. And the way how Pace is gonna work this year is that for each team is going to have their own project on Pace. The way how we have done in the past, particularly last year, was that we had only one project on Pace for everybody in the entire group. But that's the folks on Pace, they came out to us, they reached out saying that they would like to track utilization, meaning which groups are using what resources or how much resources each group is kind of using just for their own reports that they have to write for the school in the semester. So in this year, we're actually going to break down projects into teams. So each team or each lab, I think each team is going to have their own projects dedicated on Pace. And that way, the folks on Pace, they can track exactly how much resources each team is using, and they can use that for their own internal reports and things like that. So more on that later. One thing that I'm going to be doing in the next couple weeks is that once we have the teams finalized, I'm going to be reaching out to the people at Pace for them to be creating those projects for you guys and giving access to those projects. Because every time you request a compute instance on Pace, you need to give, excuse me. Okay. So, sorry. Every time you request a resource on Pace, you have to give a Pace account so that resource can run. And that account is going to be each individual's team account. So you're basically going to get your own dedicated space and storage and compute resources. Or it's going to be an account that when you request compute, is going to take from the accounts that you have on Pace. Okay. Awesome. I think that's it. So I cover a bunch of things. I know that people might have questions. So, and we have like 10 minutes left. So I'm just gonna open up some time now for people to just ask questions that you may have. But otherwise, I'm super excited to be doing research this semester. I think there's going to be a really good competition cycle. I think that the team this year is very mature. And I think that we're definitely going to be starting to explore more novel ideas than before. And I'm just really excited and looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And yeah, just super excited. So yeah, does anybody has any questions?
I got a question. Um, for joining the Google group, we should join with our Gmail accounts
Yeah,
or Georgia Tech email.
Gmail. Good question.
Okay.
Google Group join with her personal Gmail account.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Um, for some of the groups that are uh, kind of understaffed or may only have one person. If we are trying to recruit more members to our group, should we only attempt to contact others who are currently in the sort of roster which you've communicated? Like, would it not be appropriate to make like a commons post and try to bring in more students?
Oh, you can definitely make a comment. I would say that that's actually the best way to do it. Just post on the channel. Just make a post on Clay on the Clay 2026 channel. If you have done a research proposal, add that into your post and just say like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking about doing. Really excited about this task. Say why you're excited about it. I'm sure that people are gonna share some of that excitement. I think that posting on the Clay 2026 is probably the best way to do it. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I meant should we not post on the OMSCS Commons Ed discussion board?
No, because we have finished interviews. So we have interviewed everybody who's in the call and who joined the group right now. If you want to, for example, I know that you are very interested in the guns task. If you want to become a lead and lead that task, then the leads basically are the ones who are doing interviews for their own teams. So if you want to recruit people that way, you can definitely do so. And I know that you were taking the deep learning course this semester. So you could kind of do it as the final project for deep learning for the semester, and you can kind of try to recruit people that way. We have done that in the past as well. But I would say that we have just put a lot of time and effort into recruiting people this semester specifically. Like in the past, we have accepted anybody who applied, and this year we try to be more selective to reduce some of the churn that we had. So if you want to lead a task and you want to be responsible for that task, you can definitely conduct interviews for it. And yeah, then you can make a post on your class, on the deep learning class, and try to recruit people that way.
Perfect. Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking was going to a lead, trying in Clay, and then maybe if we don't get enough, reaching out to the deep learning course. Um,
Yep.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? No questions? Everybody knows what we're doing, what's up next. I guess I didn't even say what's up next. So I guess I can talk a little bit about that. So for the next week or so, I want to finalize the information and definitely have something final by February, like finalized. Um, Regarding the monthly meetings, which is something that I don't think I said out loud, we usually try to host the meetings every third week of each month. And I'm thinking that this is probably the best time for people to meet, since this was the best time on the when to meet link that I shared. So I'm thinking, I know that today's Tuesday because yesterday was a holiday, but I'm thinking that the monthly meetings are gonna happen on the third Monday of the month. Um, so I think that's the next meeting that we will have as a group. But the next steps really for the next week or so is just going to be team formation and finalizing teams and making sure that everybody here who is participating and wants to participate has a team and is excited about participating. Yeah, what's up, David?
Yeah, just have a couple of questions. Where's should we schedule the lab meetings for our tasks? Like, should we do that like this week, next week? The second question, do we have office hours? So, do we have a time that we can join and ask you questions, or or do we have to like, schedule a one-on-one with you, anyone, or anyone else on the leadership team if we have like questions?
Sure. Okay, so let me address them. So, first question, I know that you're leading e-risk, so it's really up to you to schedule the meetings whenever you like. I'd say if you already have a team formed and it's finalized, then you can start scheduling the meetings right now. I know that some teams already started meeting, like Animal Clay. Anthony has already started meeting with Evan. I'm planning to start meeting with the people on Plan Clay sometime this week, hopefully. I know that some people on Image Clay already started trying to schedule their meetings as well. So if you already have a team formed and it's finalized, then you can definitely start scheduling those meetings. Regarding office hours, like I said, we usually have done in the past, what we have done was started to have office hours around mid-March, and that was like the big block of office hours. Um, I'm available on weekends anyway because that's usually the time that I'm coding and just doing work. It's usually I'm pretty much open on Saturdays and Sundays. So at least for now, if you just have any questions, just feel free to post on Slack. I think that's the best way to reach people. And then in March, we're gonna start having the office hours again. Or
Okay.
not office hours, we're gonna start having the hack sessions. Sorry. Cool. Anybody has any other questions?
Yeah, I have a one question. Just out of curiosity, are the other competitions that aren't hosted on Kaggle, how are they usually done on other platforms?
Yeah, they're done on other platforms. Usually their own platforms, and each one is super different. But yeah, it's competition is specific. So I highly recommend if you're interested, just go on Clay and just go on one of the labs and just check how their competitions are done because they're entirely different, like how they're hosted. But from my personal experience, and then also just knowing the people from Live Clay, like actually knowing the organizers really well, they had a huge success in hosting their competitions on Kaggle last year, and they're doing again this year exactly because of that. Like Kaggle is such a big platform that you ended up getting so many people who did not even know about Clay existed participating on their competitions because it's they're already familiar with the platform. So it would be cool to see more labs switching to Kaggle, but we haven't so far, and I'm not sure if we will. But each lab has their own way of hosting their competitions. Well, I've also seen some of them doing on Hugging Face. Some of them have their own platforms and things like that. So yeah, it's different.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hello,
can we get, yeah, where can we find the onboarding document that you shared just now?
are you on Slack?
Yeah, DS at GT, right?
Yeah. Are you on
Uh,
the Clay 2026 channel?
Not yet, but so that's the channel where we can find it.
Yeah, but it's private.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
let me see if I can find you. I think I found your name. Are you? Yeah,
By
cool.
Kanki.
Yeah,
Yep.
let me add you to the channel right now.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I was able to see it. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So for your team, what are kind of the next steps that you're going to do? Because your team is finalized, right? So what are you guys going to start doing?
Yeah, so the next steps for Plant Clay and Board Clay will be just scheduling meetings. Well, Board Clay already we already have started meeting. Um, for Plan Clay, I'm gonna be scheduling the kickoff meeting for the team. Usually, we also do like a lab kickoff with all of the teams in the lab, and we're trying to do it only once this time. In the past, at least for Live Clay, we were meeting all the labs. We were meeting every on weekly, like on a weekly basis. So it wasn't like team specific. This year we're trying to be team specific. So for my team specifically, we're gonna be the next step is gonna be scheduling a meeting, the kickoff meeting, um, at a time that everybody on the team can attend, and making sure that we're all aligned on the research direction that we want to do for the cycle. So I'm going to be finalizing the research proposal for that task. I'm going to be sharing that with the team, making sure that people kind of know what they want to do. If they don't know what they want to do, then in the beginning, I like to do like a big brainstorming session. Like it can take a couple weeks, but usually 1 week is probably enough, where basically the task for the week is to just come up with a research direction that you like to do based on the research proposal that the lead proposes. So, and then try to be very autonomous throughout the semester that way, in the sense that I like to give people autonomy and a sense of agency and ownership, where they are committed to implementing their solution for the task. And they have the sense that they own their implementation, and like they basically own a piece of the paper and what they're doing. That's how I like to do things. I feel like people do their best work when they do it their way. Um, so I like to give people like autonomy that way. That's how I run things. And then regarding meetings and such, you can actually check once you get approved into the Google group, you can actually check the meeting notes that we've been having. Highly recommend checking the Berkeley notes. I really like the way how we schedule meetings and how we structure meetings, the way that we do. I think they're quite productive. So yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing. It's doing the kickoff meeting, finalizing research proposal, making sure that everybody's on the same page on what they want to do, and then just doing it.
Okay.
Cool. I have a question from Harshal in the chat. He's asking how much leeway is there to pivot ideas if an initial approach does not work out well, or should we be really sure of our initial research direction? No, you should definitely pivot if something is not working. That happens every single year, and it happened a lot with Blank Clay, where you're just trying to do something and it's not working, and then you just try doing something else. Like research, it's very much like that. Like it's a lot, there's a lot of meandering. Um, if you have ever taken like reinforcement learning, there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn to exploration versus exploitation, where in the beginning of the research cycle, you're just exploring a bunch of things. And then as you start to find out more about your data set and the task and the evaluation metric and all of the nitty gritty details, you can start to exploit the things that you have learned and come up with a better solution. But if you don't do that meandering in the beginning, like that exploration, you might miss some key findings. But you should have like a pretty solid idea of what you want to do for the semester. At least like the main contribution that you want to do. Like, are you going for efficiency of models? Are you going for um ensemble approach? Like what do you want to do? Like what are you trying to do this year? Um Basically improve something that has been done previously. So that should be clear, like that North Star, that direction. The way how you get there, it might take a lot of meandering, but that's okay. That's part of research. And it's totally fine to change ideas and pivot. Yeah, no problem. Cool, awesome. We're already past the hour, 8:04. I'm gonna actually stop the recording now. But I'm gonna stay here in the meeting if anybody has any other questions that I can answer. But so yeah, let me stop the recording. Thank you everybody for joining. And yeah, hope I'll see you guys in the next one.